Were you climbing?
No.
Were you parachuting?
No.
Is that a no? This is kind of confusing. You say no. Was somebody parachuting around you?
Endeavouring to.
Did you fall out and were saved by parachutists?
No.
So there's confusion for you, Annika.
Was this during the war?
Yes.
And were you a journalist?
No.
You were in an aeroplane and you fell out with no parachute on.
Not precisely. So.
Precisely.
You're getting...
Yes, you jumped up, the parachute failed to open.
Yes.
No. Not quite.
Not that either. No strings attached. But you were free falling.
Oh, indeed.
And you didn't have a parachute on.
That's right.
And perhaps you should have.
I
Or you
should
didn't
have.
think this was going to happen when it did. And you landed in the sea.
No.
Very near. Some of it was very near, some of it was miles away, but I'm sure Barry can get even further away.
You were going down in a plane and you hadn't got a parachute. The plane was going down.
Yes.
But obviously there was a happy ending, which we're pleased about. Somebody solved this crisis for you.
I took a decision.
You took the decision
Yes.
to jump out of the plane without a parachute.
Right?
And you landed in an environment that enabled you to survive.
Indeed.
Right. What we'd like to know is, the big part about the fact that he didn't have a parachute was how far he fell.
An amazing distance.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Well,
36,000 feet.
That's a slight exaggeration.
That's my last offer.
that's... But to you...
Any distance in this situation is amazing.
It's
to me,
amazing,
but,
yes. You're quite right that Nicholas fell over 3 miles to the ground without a parachute. And he did mention that the decision was entirely his, because explain the situation, Nicholas.
Well, it was the end of the line as far as I was concerned. The plane was on fire, the turret was on fire, I was on fire, my parachute was on fire.
Now, he was a rear gunner in a Lancaster, and because he was a rear gunner, there wasn't room to wear your parachute,
right.
so the parachute was somewhere else, and he had to go through a couple of doors to get to it. By the time he got there, it was on fire.
It was completely useless, and I was forced back into the turret by the fire, and by which time the ammunition started to explode in the gun turret, and I thought that, as far as I was concerned, it was the end of the line. But I did still have a choice as to which way I was going to die, either in the fire or a quick, clean end on the ground, so I chose the latter.
So what happened? Gosh, I'm dying to know.
And he died. No! What happened?
Well, I rotated the turret by hand and opened the doors and just did a backflip out. And I thought, well, you know, if this is dying, there's nothing to be afraid of. I wasn't afraid of it at all. I had one regret that this was on a Friday night and I was expecting to go on leave on the Sunday.
Doesn't everything always happen at once?
All the bad luck in the world.
I like the thing about you saying you knew you were upside down in the air because you could see the stars beneath your feet. I think that's lovely, that.
Well, I landed in some fir trees in Germany. And you know how close the young trees grow together, and the boughs were interlaced, and I presume that I broke off the boughs progressively as I came through, and each bough, as the further down I got, the stronger they became, until I eventually rolled off the bottom ones like rolling out off a bed or something like that.
Just walked away.
Well, virtually. I was unconscious for about 3 or 4 hours, but when I regained consciousness, I pulled myself onto my feet and walked a few paces, but I didn't have any broken bones at all.
And here's the crunch. The crunch is that the Germans got you, didn't they?
Oh, yes.
And they wouldn't believe him. Thought he was a spy, that he'd buried his parachute, you see. So, like, he's there saying, no, listen, lads, you're not going to believe this. Because you didn't even have any boots, did you?
No, my boots came off. I had great big clodhopper boots, electrically heated ones. But I left those in the turret, I presume, or they came off in the course of my descent. And it was a very, very cold night. And you were saying about the soft fields. The fields were frozen because when the Germans eventually came and found me, they made me tried to make me march out of the field and out of the woods, and I said, well, I couldn't, and so they put me on a tarpaulin and dragged me across this field and down the side of a hill, and I'd landed on my back, which was one huge bruise, And then being dragged across this frozen field on my back on this tarpaulin was probably the worst part of the evening.
As a mark of proof that all this really happened, they actually gave Nicholas a certificate. And it's been signed by all the NCOs, the senior British NCOs. An amazing story, Nicholas, and proof, of course, that when all seems lost, hope springs eternal. Ladies and gentlemen, Nicholas Alkemade.